Today we're looking at the war crimes of a terrible dictator.
Of course she hates me, but that makes me love her all the more.
Standing trial is the king of the Koopas, Bowser.
They are up to something, sire.
Sit. Jam with me.
Due to his war crimes spanning across kingdoms and worlds, we'll be looking at both U.S. law and international law, as well as the Geneva Convention. Because Bowser's army is 100% the aggressor when they attack the Penguin's kingdom.
Do you yield? I do not.
And the fact that their goal is total domination, this would without a doubt be considered an illegal war, the penalty for which is death.
Open the gates! Or die.
The 1863 Lieber Code, established during the U.S. Civil War, made it clear that pillaging was prohibited, and violating this law could result in the death penalty. The intentional killing or harming of civilians is a clear violation of the Geneva Convention.
The only hope is the sweet relief of death.
Bowser takes the entire penguin population and removes them from their ice kingdom.
But you're invited to the royal wedding!
I'll be sacrificing them in your honor.
If his goal is to eventually kill all of them, this would be an act of genocide.
Please, we are depressed enough!
However, the simple fact that he displaced them from their homeland and imprisoned them is already an egregious violation of the Geneva Convention.
I'm not threatened. Find out who he is and what they're planning!
We found him in the Darklands.
Do you know him?
Stop!
Torturing civilians during wartime earns Bowser another life imprisonment.
Where am I?
His treatment of prisoners of war is also cruel and inhumane.
Will you marry me?
Marry you? Are you insane?
Bowser's demanding of the princess to marry him under threats of violence, both towards Toad and her kingdom as a whole, would easily make this a war crime.
I'll marry you. Just don't hurt my toads.
Time for a wedding! Lower the prisoners!
Bowser lowering his prisoners into lava would not only be considered torture, but also attempted execution of prisoners, which would land him 2 life sentences if neither resulted in a successful death.
Get him out of my sight!
But if we look closely, we can see Luigi isn't in the lowest hung cage, meaning other prisoners were definitely killed here, which upgrades these 2 life sentences to 2 death penalties.
Launch the bomber bill and destroy the Mushroom Kingdom!
On the topic of weapons of mass destruction, in the context of the movie, we can also likely classify the Power Star as a weapon of mass destruction as well.
As you can see, I have the Superstar.
Given Bowser's original intent to use it against the Mushroom Kingdom.
You ruined my wedding! I was finally gonna be happy!
Nothing can hurt us as long as we're together.
Soon we will arrive at the Mushroom Kingdom!
Before we read off Bowser's official sentence, let's address his troops.
Oh, ho, 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 wedding bells.
Well, what if she says no?
For Bowser's standard-ranked minions.
Did he say marry their princess?
Doesn't she hate you?
Although they were part of Bowser's belligerent army, they would only be considered rank-and-file soldiers following orders. For this reason, they are not guilty of any crimes. Exceptions being for any individual Koopa soldiers who took part in the torture or execution of civilians. Those Koopas will receive sentences ranging from 15 years to death.
We have found the princess and the mustachioed human.
Additionally, standard officers in Bowser's army, such as the Blue Shell Koopa, were only present in combat operations.
Blue Shell!
Meaning they too are not guilty of any crimes.
Sire, look in the mirror. You have nothing to worry about.
The same cannot be said for Kamik.
Maybe you should reconsider. That is but a taste of our fury.
You will all be ritualistically sacrificed! A mustachioed human has arrived in the Mushroom Kingdom.
It's clear that Kamik's advisory role makes him partly responsible for the war crimes that Bowser carried out. Because he could partly be considered the architect of Bowser's attempted genocide, Kamik will be sentenced to death by firing squad. Now we get to Bowser, king of the Koopas.
Listen, this is not the way I pictured it, but give me one more chance.
For your many crimes against humanity, you will be sentenced to death by hanging. May God have mercy on your soul.